Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the English Hour. I'm your host, Sophia, and today, we're tackling a bold yet fascinating topic: how to become fluent in English in just 2 months. Yes, you heard that right. And joining me as always is our brilliant guest and language mentor, Jacob. Hi, Jacob.
Hey Sophia, it's great to be here again, and wow, 2 months to fluency. That's definitely ambitious, but not impossible if done right.
I knew you'd say that. So let's kick it off. Is it really possible for someone to go from basic or intermediate English to fluent in just 60 days?
Great question. The short answer is yes, but with some conditions. First, the person needs strong motivation. Second, they need a structured plan. And third, they must immerse themselves completely.
I love that. Let's break each of those down. Starting with motivation, how important is that for language fluency?
It's everything, honestly. Motivation fuels consistency. You need a clear reason. Maybe you're aiming for a job, traveling abroad, or planning to study in an English-speaking country. That reason is what keeps you going when it gets tough.
That's powerful. And once someone's motivated, what's the next most important step?
Designing a schedule. I recommend something like the 6-hour rule. That means dedicating 6 focused hours a day to English. It sounds intense, but it can be broken into blocks: reading, listening, speaking, and writing.
That's a great point. Could you walk us through a sample daily routine?
Sure, morning could start with 30 minutes of reading articles, short stories, or even social media posts in English. Then 1 hour of listening, podcasts, audiobooks, or YouTube. Later in the afternoon, focus on speaking, talk to a language partner, or use apps. And in the evening, write a journal or short summaries of what you learned.
That sounds doable. And you mentioned immersion earlier. What does full immersion look like?
Immersion means living as much of your day in English as possible. Change your phone's language. Watch only English content. Think in English. Narrate your actions. Surround yourself with English, even if no native speakers are around.
Thinking in English. That's so underrated. How can learners train themselves to think in English instead of translating?
Start small. Label objects around the house in English. Use internal monologue like, I am brushing my teeth, or I'm making coffee. And avoid translating. Try to associate the English word directly with the object or idea.
I love that. And what about grammar? Should learners focus heavily on rules, or can they pick it up naturally?
That depends. Some learners thrive with grammar drills, but most benefit more from contextual learning. Absorb grammar through reading and listening, then reinforce it through usage. Learning rules in context helps it stick better.
So it's more about practical usage than memorizing grammar charts.
Exactly. You don't need to know the name of a tense to use it correctly. You need to see it, hear it, and then produce it.
That makes sense. Let's talk about tools. Are there apps or platforms that help accelerate fluency?
Oh, absolutely. Apps like Anki for spaced repetition, Italki, or HelloTalk for speaking English for pronunciation, and ChatGPT, yes, even AI to practice conversation or get feedback instantly.
Interesting you mentioned ChatGPT. A lot of learners are using AI to simulate real conversations, right?
Yes, you can ask AI to act like a conversation partner, correct your grammar, or even explain a concept in simpler words. It's like having a teacher 24/7.
That's amazing. So if someone follows this intense plan, surrounds themselves with English, uses smart tools, and stays consistent, they can really see huge results in just 60 days.
They really can. I've seen people who couldn't hold a sentence start giving full presentations after 2 months. But again, it takes serious commitment, no shortcuts.
And what's the biggest mistake learners make when they aim for fast fluency?
They focus too much on input and not enough on output. Watching movies won't make you fluent unless you also speak and write. Fluency comes from production, using the language daily.
That's a golden tip. What are some fun ways to practice speaking if someone doesn't have a tutor or partner?
Record yourself speaking. Talk to a mirror. Join Facebook groups or online communities for English learners. And shadowing, repeating after native speakers, line by line, is excellent for pronunciation and rhythm.
Shadowing. I've heard a lot about that. Could you explain how it works?
Sure, pick a short video or podcast clip. Play one sentence, pause, and repeat it out loud, mimicking the tone and pace. Then continue. It's like karaoke but for language learning.
That's such a fun way to learn. What about accents? Should learners worry about sounding native?
No, focus on being clear, not perfect. A strong accent is fine as long as your message is understandable. Over time, your pronunciation improves naturally with listening and practice.
That's reassuring. So what does fluency really mean? Is it speaking fast, using big words?
Not at all. Fluency is being able to express your thoughts smoothly and understand others easily. It's about communication, not complexity.
I really like that definition. It takes the pressure off.
Exactly. You don't need to speak like a professor, you just need to connect and communicate confidently.
We're already getting into so many good points. Let's keep going and talk about the emotional side of this. A lot of learners face self-doubt, especially when they make mistakes.
That's very true. Fear of making mistakes can paralyze learners. But the truth is, mistakes are the fastest way to grow. Every fluent speaker made thousands of errors before they got good.
So true. I always tell our listeners fluency isn't about perfection. It's about persistence.
100%. Make mistakes, laugh at them, learn from them, and move on. That's the real formula for success.
Jacob, let's dive even deeper now. What would week 1 look like for someone on this 2-month fluency journey?
Great idea. In week 1, the focus should be on setting up habits and building a foundation. That means choosing core materials, maybe a beginner course, a vocabulary app, and a daily podcast. The goal is to surround yourself with English consistently.
That's such a practical start. So in week 1, it's all about building the habit and adjusting your routine to revolve around English. What would a day in week 1 look like?
Let's say you wake up at 7 a.m. From 7:30 to 800, you do some reading, maybe a news article or a graded reader. Then from 800 to 900, you listen to a beginner-friendly English podcast or YouTube channel like BBC Learning English or Speak English with Mr. Steve. At lunchtime, you think or talk to yourself in English about your morning. In the evening, you can practice writing 5-10 sentences about your day and maybe record a short video diary in English.
That actually sounds very doable. And it also sounds like a full immersion experience, even without living in an English-speaking country.
Exactly. That's the trick, creating an English environment wherever you are. And during week 1, I'd also recommend starting a vocabulary notebook and choosing a goal of learning at least 15-20 new words every day.
So we're talking about building that momentum and getting comfortable with English throughout the day. What happens in week 2?
In week 2, we take it up a notch. Now that the learner has the rhythm, it's time to start focusing more on output. That means speaking and writing. I recommend joining online conversation groups like language exchanges on Tandem, HelloTalk, or even joining a WhatsApp or Telegram group for English learners.
That's such a good tip. And how often should learners be speaking during week 2?
As much as possible. Even if it's just 15 minutes a day with a partner, that regular practice makes a huge difference. And if no partner is available, self-talk and shadowing exercises are powerful substitutes.
Let's say someone's shy or afraid to speak. What's your advice?
Start small. Talk to yourself in front of a mirror. Read out loud. Practice common phrases. And remind yourself mistakes are progress. No one learned to ride a bike without falling.
That's encouraging. Okay, let's jump into week 3. What's the focus there?
Week 3 is all about expanding listening comprehension and speaking range. This is the time to start consuming more natural content, TV series, movies, real-life vlogs, podcasts from native speakers. But use subtitles wisely. Watch once with English subtitles, then again without.
I love that strategy. And what about speaking? How can learners keep it fresh?
Try topic-based speaking. Choose a new topic every day, for example, food, travel, my family, a funny memory, and speak on that topic for 5 minutes. Record yourself and then listen back. It helps with confidence and fluency.
Such a cool idea. And in terms of vocabulary, should they keep learning 15-20 new words a day?
Yes, but now also focus on collocations, how words go together. Instead of just learning make and decision, learn make a decision. That's how you sound more natural.
Brilliant. All right. Now we're nearly at the halfway mark, week 4. What's the game plan?
Week 4 is where fluency starts to take shape. The focus should shift to more spontaneous speech. Join live discussions, webinars, or clubhouse talks in English. Try narrating your thoughts during tasks. And write longer texts, maybe short essays, opinion pieces, or email style writing.
And how about grammar at this stage? Should learners start polishing it more?
Yes, definitely. At this point, you should be noticing common grammar patterns, and it's a good idea to review basic tenses, sentence structures, and modal verbs. Use tools like Grammarly or AI Chat to get instant feedback.
Jacob, I feel like people are often afraid of grammar because it feels like school all over again.
Totally understandable. But here's the trick: treat grammar as a tool, not a test. Learn what helps you express yourself better. You don't need to memorize every rule. Just understand the patterns that matter in real conversation.
That's so liberating to hear. Okay, moving on to week 5. Now we're past the halfway point. What should students be focusing on?
Week 5 is about deepening conversation skills. Try longer speaking sessions. Schedule 30-minute conversations with a tutor or friend. Prepare short presentations or tell stories. Focus on fluency over accuracy. Don't worry if you make a few mistakes.
I love that shift. So by now, students should be confident expressing themselves, even if they're not perfect.
Exactly. Think of yourself as someone who uses English daily. Talk about your job, your city, your culture. Practice explaining your opinions and asking questions. Those are key in real-world conversations.
And how do you recommend learners keep their motivation high during this phase?
Track your progress. Listen to a recording from week 1 and compare it to now. Celebrate how far you've come. Maybe even start teaching basic English to others. Teaching reinforces learning.
That's so inspiring. All right, week 6. We're getting close to the finish line. What happens here?
Week 6 is all about refining and personalizing English. Start using English in your actual life. Write emails in English. Comment on social media in English. Change your hobbies to English-based communities. Also, start learning idioms and common expressions. They make you sound more fluent.
That's fun. Any examples of useful idioms for everyday speech?
Absolutely. Things like the books, break the ice, on the same page, or a piece of cake. These are phrases native speakers use all the time, and they bring life to your conversations.
So by week 6, it's about adding flavor and natural rhythm to the language.
Exactly. It's like you've built the house, and now you're decorating it.
Beautiful metaphor. Let's roll into week 7 now. What's the game plan?
Week 7 is for building advanced fluency and confidence. Start storytelling. Share your past experiences, your goals, your dreams, all in English. You could also join group discussions, debate clubs, or volunteer to help others with English.
That's such a good idea, helping others as a way to grow. Could that really boost fluency?
Definitely. Teaching or helping beginners makes you reflect on what you know. It builds confidence and reinforces your understanding of grammar, vocabulary.
That's awesome. Now finally, week 8. What's the goal for the last week?
Week 8 is all about polishing and celebrating. Focus on natural conversations. Watch a movie and then describe it. Give a 5-minute speech. Reflect on your journey in English. Even write a letter to your future self.
I absolutely love that idea. Writing a letter in English about your journey sounds like a perfect way to wrap up the challenge.
And don't stop here. Even after 60 days, keep the momentum going. Fluency is a journey, not a finish line.
You've given so many golden tips today, Jacob. And I know we have even more to dive into. Let's explore the kinds of mistakes learners should expect during these 8 weeks and how to handle them. You've given so many golden tips today, Jacob. And I know we have even more to dive into. Let's explore the kinds of mistakes learners should expect during these 8 weeks and how to handle them.
Absolutely. Mistakes are part of the process, and honestly, if you're not making mistakes, you're probably not pushing yourself hard enough. One of the most common ones is focusing too much on grammar in the early stages.
That's true. I've seen people freeze mid sentence just because they're unsure if it's have gone or had gone.
Exactly. The key is to prioritize communication. Your main goal should be, can I express my idea clearly enough to be understood? If the answer is yes, even with grammar mistakes, then you're winning.
I love that. Another mistake I've noticed is learners memorizing vocabulary in isolation. Like a big list of random words they never actually use.
Oh yes, that's a classic. Memorizing without context doesn't help long-term retention. You should always learn words in phrases or real-life examples. For instance, don't just learn. Learn. I'm interested in learning English.
That's a game changer. And what about emotional mistakes? Things like fear, overthinking, or feeling like you're not improving.
That's such an important point. Many learners hit what I call the plateau panic. Around week 4 or 5, they feel like they're not progressing, even though they are,
Why does that happen?
because in the beginning, progress feels fast and visible. You go from knowing nothing to being able to say basic things. But then the growth becomes internal, your listening improves, your vocabulary expands, but it's not always obvious.
So, what should learners do during that plateau phase?
Keep going, this is where habits and mindset matter most. Trust the process. Keep speaking, keep listening, keep writing. You may not notice the growth, but others will.
That's very comforting. So, consistency beats motivation, right?
Every time. Motivation gets you started, but habits keep you going. Even on the days you feel tired or discouraged, just do something small in English. Watch a short video, write a few sentences, talk to yourself in the mirror.
Let's talk about perfectionism. So many learners, especially adults, feel ashamed when they make mistakes. How do you fight that?
You shift your mindset from, I need to be perfect, to, I need to grow. Think of language as a muscle. Every mistake is like a rep in the gym. It strengthens your fluency.
That's such a great analogy. I also think celebrating small wins is important, right?
Huge. Celebrate when you understand a native speaker without subtitles. When you write a paragraph without using Google Translate. When you hold a 5-minute conversation. These are victories.
I love how you always emphasize progress over perfection. Let's go deeper into speaking anxiety. What's your advice for someone who understands English but freezes when speaking?
That's incredibly common. First, breathe. Literally, take a deep breath before speaking. Second, slow down. Many learners think they need to speak fast to sound fluent. You don't. Slow, clear speech is more effective.
That's so helpful. And what about mind blanks? Like when you forget the word mid-sentence.
It happens to natives too. Use filler phrases. Say, let me think. Or, what's the word? Oh. Or rephrase instead of saying microwave, say the machine that heats food quickly.
That's such a smart trick. I do that in other languages too. So basically be flexible, not frozen.
Exactly. Fluency isn't about knowing every word. It's about navigating around the words you don't know.
Let's shift a bit. What's your advice for learners balancing this 8-week challenge with a full-time job or studies?
Prioritize quality over quantity. Even 30 focused minutes a day can bring results if used wisely. Use your commute to listen to English. Speak while you cook. Review vocabulary during coffee breaks. Make English a part of your lifestyle.
So it's more about integrating English into your daily routine than carving out a huge study session.
Exactly. It's like brushing your teeth, you just do it no matter how busy you are.
I love that comparison. Now let's get even more practical. What tools or apps do you recommend during this 2-month journey?
Great question. For vocabulary, I love Anki or Quizlet. They use spaced repetition. For speaking, Elsa Speak, Tandem, or Hello Talk. For writing and feedback, use Grammarly or write on LangCorrect to get corrections from native speakers.
And for listening,
TED Talks, BBC Learning English, and real YouTube channels like English Addict, Speak English with Vanessa, or even real-life vloggers like Casey Neistat listen to natural, unscripted speech.
how about chat-based practice? Is it okay to use tools like AI or chatbots?
Absolutely, tools like ChatGPT can simulate conversation, help you brainstorm, or even role play scenarios. Just remember, nothing replaces speaking out loud with your own voice.
So use it as a supplement, not a substitute.
Exactly. It's great for low-pressure practice, writing help, and correcting sentences. But make sure you also get real speaking time with real people.
Let's get into some real life scenarios. What would you say to a student who's preparing for a job interview in English within these 2 months?
I'd recommend they start preparing specific answers early. Use the STAR method: situation, task, action, result, and write answers for common questions like "tell me about yourself" or "describe a challenge." Then practice aloud daily,
And should they memorize the answers?
not word for word. Memorize the structure, not the script. Be flexible. Your goal is to communicate clearly and confidently, not sound robotic.
Okay, now let's imagine someone wants to make friends in English online. What's a good way to start conversations?
Start with compliments or questions. Hey, I liked your comment on that post. Where are you from? Or, I'm learning English too. Want to practice together? Keep it simple and genuine.
That's so helpful. All right, I want to go even deeper. What role does mindset really play in language learning?
It's everything. If you believe, I'm too old, or I'm not good at languages, that becomes your reality. But if you shift your mindset to, I'm improving every day, you'll start noticing growth and stay motivated.
I'm loving this so much, Jacob. I know there's still a lot more we can explore, from daily routines to real world applications of fluency. Let's keep going. I'd love to unpack the daily habits that actually lead to fluency. What does a solid English day look like during this 2-month journey?
Great question. A strong day doesn't mean hours of studying, it means touching all four skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing, even if it's just 15 minutes each.
So we're not talking about spending all day with grammar books.
Definitely not. Instead, imagine this: you wake up, and during breakfast, you listen to a short English podcast, maybe the English Hour.
Good plug, Jacob. I like that.
Haha. Then during your commute or lunch break, you read something short: a blog post, a Reddit thread, an article. Later in the day, you talk out loud to yourself, describe what you're doing, like, I'm washing the dishes, I'm cooking rice.
So you're turning your daily life into a learning lab.
Exactly, and at night, spend 10-15 minutes writing, maybe journaling, or replying to a comment in English, or summarizing what you learned that day.
That's such a smart structure. Wake up with English, sprinkle it in during the day, and wind down with it.
And the best part, it doesn't feel like studying. It becomes who you are. I'm someone who uses English every day.
What would you say to people who struggle with time management? Maybe they have jobs, families, school, and just feel too overwhelmed.
Totally understand. Start with the rule of 5. Do something in English for just 5 minutes. Often that leads to 10 or 20, but even if not, it's still progress.
It removes the pressure, right?
Exactly. Plus, stacking habits works. Listen to English while exercising, watch English videos while cooking, read while waiting in line. Find your dead time and turn it into English time.
That's powerful. Let's talk about speaking again. You mentioned speaking to yourself earlier. How do you actually do that? Doesn't it feel weird?
It can at first, but think of it like thinking out loud. Narrate your actions, like, I'm pouring water, I need to check my email, I'm getting ready for work.
That's great for beginners, especially.
Absolutely. You're training your mouth and brain to connect. And then once you're ready, you can do shadowing, where you repeat what someone says in a video in real time.
Oh yes, shadowing is amazing. It feels like you're syncing with the speaker.
Right? It boosts pronunciation, rhythm, and fluency all at once. Even 5 minutes a day makes a big difference.
I used to shadow scenes from my favorite movies. I'd mimic the tone, emotion, even the pauses.
That's perfect. And it's fun too, because you're engaging with content you enjoy.
What kind of content do you suggest for shadowing, or listening in general?
Start with what you love. If you like cooking, watch English recipes. If you like gaming, watch game reviews. Your brain learns faster when you're interested.
So fluency is not just a language journey, it's a personal one too.
Exactly. It's about building a version of yourself that lives partly in English.
Let's flip to reading now. What's the best way to improve fluency through reading?
Read things that are slightly above your comfort level. Not too easy, not too hard. Use the Goldilocks rule. And don't stop every time you see a new word, guess the meaning from context and keep going.
That's hard for perfectionists.
I know, but fluency means flow and stopping every sentence breaks that flow. So instead, finish the whole paragraph, then come back and check unknown words.
I like that system. It lets you enjoy the reading and still learn.
Exactly. And if you can read aloud sometimes, it helps with pronunciation and confidence.
All right, let's go deep again. How do you stay emotionally motivated over 2 months?
Amazing question. You need what I call visible progress. Track what you do. Write down the minutes spent, the number of new words learned, or how many conversations you had.
So you create proof of your improvement.
Yes, that way when you feel like giving up, you can look back and say, wow, I've done a lot. It keeps the fire alive.
What about external motivation? Should people use social media to stay accountable?
Definitely. Post your journey. Join English learning communities. Share your wins and struggles. The feedback and encouragement can be a huge boost.
And I guess teaching others can also reinforce your learning, right?
100%. If you can explain something in English to someone else, it means you truly understand it. So yes, teach, comment, participate.
I think it's also helpful to keep a before and after video diary. Record yourself speaking English on day 1, then again on day 30, and day 60.
That's brilliant. You'll hear the difference. And it's so satisfying, like seeing your own transformation in real time.
Let's take a quick turn into writing. What's the fastest way to improve writing fluency?
Write a little every day. It doesn't have to be fancy. Just write what you did today, your thoughts, or even rewrite a story you heard in your own words. Then use a tool like Grammarly to get feedback.
Would you recommend writing by hand or typing?
Typing is faster, but writing by hand can help memory and focus. Maybe do both, type for speed, handwrite for depth.
Okay, now we've touched on speaking, reading, writing, and listening. What's something most learners completely overlook?
Great question. I think they overlook thinking in English. We all have that internal voice. Training it to speak in English is a huge leap.
So instead of thinking, I need to go to the market, in your native language, you start thinking it in English.
Exactly. It's weird at first, but after a while it becomes automatic. That's the moment fluency starts to feel natural.
That's incredible. And you can do it anywhere while walking, waiting in line, lying in bed.
Yep. And if you get stuck, just say, how do I say this in English? And either guess or look it up later. It keeps the learning alive.
Jacob, every time we talk, I feel like I want to grab a notebook and start applying all of this immediately.
That's the goal. English fluency isn't magic, it's movement. Small steps every day with the right mindset and tools.
And with that, we're just getting warmed up. Let's go even deeper. I want to talk about setting weekly targets, using AI for micro corrections, and building confidence in group conversations. You mentioned weekly targets. How important are they when trying to become fluent in just 2 months?
Super important, they give structure. Without targets, time passes and you don't realize how little you've practiced. Weekly goals act like checkpoints on your fluency journey.
So it's not just about saying, I want to be fluent. It's about saying, this week I'll do X, Y, and Z, right?
For example, week 1 could be learn 50 new vocabulary words, shadow 1 video per day, and write a paragraph every night. Then week 2 builds on that.
That's very achievable and keeps things focused. Would you recommend tracking progress, digitally, or with pen and paper?
Whichever you'll actually stick to. Some learners love apps like Notion or Trello. Others prefer a simple notebook. I say the best system is the one you use consistently.
Fair enough. Let's shift gears to AI. We talked a bit before about using it for correction. But what are some micro uses like daily tiny habits involving AI?
Great one. One habit is to speak to an AI assistant like me, ChatGPT every morning. Just say, let's practice a short conversation about travel, and boom, you've spoken English before breakfast.
That's so cool. And you can do it anytime, no need for scheduling or feeling shy.
Yep, AI doesn't judge, interrupt, or rush you. Plus, it can give instant corrections. You can even say, hey, correct me every time I make a mistake, and it'll do that politely.
I think that builds confidence too, right? Because you're getting real, time support, without pressure.
Exactly. It's like having a personal English coach on standby 24/7. Another micro use, ask AI to explain grammar rules in your own words, like explain present perfect tense as if I'm a beginner.
And what about writing practice?
That's where AI shines. Write a paragraph and ask, can you make this sound more natural? Or, which parts of this sound awkward? You'll learn fast from the revisions.
That's better than just doing exercises from a textbook. It's dynamic and personalized.
Totally. AI is like an infinite workbook that adapts to you. It's changing the way we learn languages.
Speaking of change, let's talk confidence. Many learners understand English, but freeze up in group conversations. What's going on there?
That's the silent fluency stage. Your brain understands, but your mouth lags behind because of fear of mistakes, of judgment, of not being fast enough.
So, how do you break through that barrier?
Step by step. First, start with low-stakes conversations. AI chats, then one-on-one calls, then small group chats. Think of it like leveling up in a game.
Gradual exposure, like building a muscle.
Exactly. And here's a powerful tip: record yourself speaking every day for 60 seconds. Just freestyle. After a week, listen back and compare. You'll hear your progress, and your confidence will soar.
That's such a smart idea. Most people hate hearing their own voice, but it's actually a tool for growth.
100%. You'll catch your hesitation points, your pronunciation quirks, and then fix them. It's like watching game footage as an athlete.
I love that analogy. Okay. Next, can you give us some real world practice ideas for people with no one to talk to?
Absolutely. One fun exercise is speech shadowing plus reaction. You take a YouTube clip, play a short sentence, pause, repeat it, and then add your own reaction. Like if someone says, the weather's crazy today, you say it too, then add, yeah. I hate when it rains all day.
So you're not just copying, you're extending the dialogue.
Yes, it becomes your own conversation. Another one is role play journaling. Pretend you're writing an email to your boss or a text to a friend in English. Make it real.
That's excellent prep for real life situations, especially job interviews or travel.
Exactly. And speaking of jobs, English fluency can open up work from home gigs, international clients, and global freelancing. So it's not just language, it's opportunity.
Let's talk about that. How does being fluent in English turn into real income?
Tons of ways. For example, English tutors are in high demand even if you're not native. If you're fluent, you can help beginners. Or you can do freelance writing, translation, voiceovers, YouTube content, and more.
So you're learning English and unlocking income streams.
Exactly. And when people realize that, it motivates them even more. English isn't just grammar, it's a skill that pays.
We should definitely explore the connection between fluency and freelancing in a future episode.
I'd love that. Especially now that platforms like Upwork, Fiverr, and even YouTube Shorts make it easier than ever.
Speaking of shorts, do you think learners should create short content in English?
Yes, even 30-second videos where you explain something or share a fun fact, it helps build confidence and builds a digital portfolio. Plus, you get feedback.
That's genius. It's like learning by teaching.
Exactly. And people love watching authentic journeys, so even if you're not perfect, you inspire others who are one step behind you.
So the message is use English every day, in real ways, for real growth.
That's it. The more you live in English, the faster you'll own it.
And in 2 months, you'll look back and say, "Wow, I really did that."
Yes. You'll go from surviving in English to thriving in it.
All right, Jacob, let's not stop here. I want to go even deeper into morning routines, common learner traps, And maybe even talk about how to stay fluent long term after reaching the 2-month mark.
I'm so glad you brought up morning routines because they can set the tone for your entire learning day.
Totally agree. A strong start makes it easier to stay consistent. What do you recommend for a simple but effective English morning routine?
I usually suggest something that hits all four skills: speaking, listening, reading, and writing, but in small doses. For example, 1. Wake up and shadow a 2-minute English clip. 2. Read a short article or paragraph. 3. Write a 3-sentence journal entry in English. 4. Talk to ChatGPT or record yourself for 1 minute.
That sounds totally doable, and it only takes, 15 minutes?
Exactly. But the key is do it every morning. That repetition builds habits. Your brain starts to crave English first thing in the day.
And then even when you're not studying, your mind stays switched on in English.
Right? You start thinking in English throughout the day, like forming sentences in your head or imagining how you describe something in English.
Okay, let's dive into something every learner faces: traps. What are some common mistakes that block progress in these 2 months?
Good one. Mistake number 1. Focusing too much on grammar and not enough on use. People study rules endlessly but never apply them.
So they know the theory, but can't use it in a real conversation.
Exactly. Knowing how the present perfect works isn't helpful if you never use it in speech or writing. Practice should come first. Theory supports it.
Love that. What's another trap?
Comparing yourself to others. Especially with social media, you see someone speaking fluently and think, I'm so far behind. That's toxic.
Yes, everyone's journey is different, and social media is just the highlight reel.
Right. What you don't see is that person struggled too. They practiced for months. You have to focus on your own lane.
I think another trap is trying to do too much at once, like downloading 10 apps, signing up for 5 courses, buying 3 books.
Yep, that's over preparation paralysis. You feel like you're learning, but you're just organizing. Instead, pick 1 or 2 tools and use them deeply.
Less is more, especially when you want fast results in 2 months.
It's about depth, not quantity. Focus on consistency over variety.
All right, say someone reaches a decent level of fluency by the end of 2 months. What next? How do they keep it?
Great question. Maintenance is all about keeping English in your lifestyle. That means consuming English media, speaking regularly, and using English in your hobbies.
So instead of studying English, they start living in English.
Perfectly said. For example, switch your phone language to English. Join online communities where people speak English. Watch your favorite topics like tech, travel, fashion in English.
It becomes part of your identity, not just something you do.
Yes, that's how fluency sticks. It's like staying fit. You don't quit the gym after getting in shape, you maintain it.
What if someone starts slipping? Like they stop practicing for a while and feel like they're losing fluency.
First, don't panic. Language skills fade slower than people think. But to bounce back, just restart with daily exposure. Even 10 minutes a day can rebuild your rhythm.
That's really encouraging. A lot of learners get discouraged by short breaks.
Totally. But it's never too late to restart. And AI can help you bounce back fast. Personalized feedback, instant practice anytime.
Speaking of AI, have you heard of learners using AI to simulate job interviews or dating scenarios to practice specific situations?
Yes, and I love it. You can literally tell ChatGPT, pretend to be a job interviewer. Ask me 5 questions for a customer service role. It's so targeted.
That's brilliant, like building fluency for real world success.
Exactly. You're preparing for life in English, not just exams or exercises.
Jacob, I want to go even deeper next. Maybe we can explore how to learn slang, humor, and cultural context. You know, the real English that textbooks never teach.
Absolutely, Sophia, that's the fun stuff. Slang, jokes, expressions, what makes English feel alive. Let's get into it.
Okay, Jacob, let's jump into the fun part: slang, jokes, and those everyday expressions that make English feel more alive. Why do you think this part of learning is so important?
Great question. Honestly, slang and idiomatic language are what make someone sound natural. Without them, you might be fluent, but you'll still sound robotic or too formal.
Right. Like if someone says, I am feeling very joyful today, instead of, I'm pumped. Or, I'm super excited. It feels off.
Exactly. Native speakers rarely talk like textbooks. They say things like, I'm beat, instead of, I am very tired. Learning these expressions helps you blend in.
What's the best way to start picking up slang naturally?
Immersion is key. Watch sitcoms, YouTube vlogs, or TikToks where people speak casually. Listen to how they talk. And don't be afraid to pause and Google what a phrase means.
And some learners get scared of sounding too casual, right?
Yeah, but here's the thing, using slang doesn't mean being disrespectful. It just means sounding more relaxed and in tune with real life. Of course, know when to use it. You wouldn't say, "What's up?" in a job interview.
True. Context is everything. Do you have a list of your favorite, everyday slang phrases for learners?
Oh yes. Here's a quick list. No worries. It's okay, don't worry about it. I'm down. Ta I agree, I'm interested. It's lit. It's amazing, guy, fun was cool. Hang out. Spend time with someone. Hit me up. Ta contact me, message me. Bummer. That's disappointing. I'm good. Ta I'm okay, I don't need anything. Crash. Ta to fall asleep suddenly or arrive somewhere unexpectedly.
That's awesome. I've heard all of those in TV shows. But hearing them explained helps a lot.
Exactly. It's one thing to hear them. It's another to understand and use them. You can even practice with AI. Just say, use bummer in a sentence, and see how it's done.
I love that. Okay, let's get into humor next. English humor is tricky, right?
So tricky, it's often based on wordplay, sarcasm, or cultural references. So even fluent learners sometimes miss the joke.
Yeah, I remember watching Friends and laughing 2 seconds late, because I had to process the joke.
Same, but that's normal. Humor comes with time and exposure. One thing that helps is learning about puns, jokes based on wordplay. Like, I used to be a baker, but I couldn't make enough dough.
Haha, that's a good one. It works because dough means both money and bread, right?
Exactly, English is full of puns and double meanings. Another example, time flies like an arrow. Fruit flies like a banana.
Oh my gosh, that one takes a second. It's funny and confusing.
And that's why humor is the final level of fluency. If you get the jokes, you're deep in the language.
Do you think learners should try to use humor too, or just understand it?
Both. Even simple jokes build confidence. You don't need to be a stand-up comedian, but throwing in a pun or sarcastic reply makes conversations more fun.
That's true. And humor builds connection too. It makes you more relatable.
Yes, it shows personality. And if you're in a new country or job, making someone laugh is a great icebreaker.
What about cultural references, like pop culture TV memes?
Oh, they're huge. Especially in online English, people use meme language all the time. Like, I can't even. Or, that's a big yikes.
And sometimes they say things like, he's giving main character energy. Or, that's such a mood.
Haha. Exactly. Those are modern expressions, mostly from social media. They evolve quickly, so the best way to keep up is to stay online, follow English meme pages or creators on TikTok or Instagram.
And learners shouldn't feel pressure to use every slang word, right?
Definitely not. Pick what feels natural to you. Maybe you like using no cap, but feel weird saying slay. That's okay. Build your own voice in English.
I love that. Make English yours. Choose expressions that match your personality.
Yup. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be you in English.
Jacob, I think we've covered some gold here. Slang, jokes, memes, personality in language.
For sure. And for learners who really want to become fluent in 2 months, this is the kind of English that unlocks confidence.
Jacob, I think we've delivered an incredible session today. From practical tips to real world slang and even humor, this episode was packed with value for anyone wanting to become fluent in just 2 months.
Absolutely, Sophia. And I hope everyone listening feels inspired to dive into English, not just as a subject, but as a living language they can use every day.
Remember, the journey to fluency isn't about perfection, it's about practice, exposure, and enjoying the process.
Right on. And don't forget to use all the amazing tools out there from AI and podcast to YouTube and language exchange apps.
Thanks so much for being here, Jacob. It's always a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you, Sophia. Let's keep helping people break language barriers together.
And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the English Hour. We've got more real talk, more learning, and more fun coming your way.